All right, good morning. Going to get started here shortly. I made the unenviable mistake of deciding I wanted to eat fried fish yesterday, which was so delicious. But since I so rarely eat fried food, it is tearing my stomach up this morning. So I might have to step away a few times during the line to get some water and such. At any rate, the first thing we're going to do is announce a take profit hit. We have that already. It's 7:34, so we don't have any new calls. I believe they went off for 7:30. Next opportunity to enter the market is going to be at 7:40 for the futures market and 7:45 for the rest of the market. But we have a take profit smash on 6B1. 6B1. That is the futures for the Great British Pound Sterling for 103 pips. All right. So it's our first announcement of the day. Taper profit smashed on 6B1. Again, that's the future on the Great British Pound Sterling. Go ahead and get that recorded real quick. All right, that is win 947 for the year. Brings us to 3,957,435 pips. All right, as to the calls for the morning, let's get to those. First, we have the United States dollar versus the Czech dollar. Okay, so we have blue, aqua, gray. That's in consolidation, means price is likely to range. We're coming from a sell order block, but that's just too much resistance. And we have 1, 2 order blocks, 3 order blocks before take profit. So we won't be taking this particular trade. Next up, we have the United States dollar versus the Singapore dollar. This one we will be taking. We have blue, gray, aqua. This is a downtrend. It's going to be a short from current price. Targeting 1.29189. All right, this is an exotic currency. You can find this on most brokers. And it's going to be a sell. It is a 3.7 risk. Entry at 29507. Stop at 29593. That's going to be for 9 pips. And take profit at 1.2989189. 1.29189. And that's for 32 pips. All right, first call of the morning. United States dollar versus Singapore dollar. This is a 15-minute confirmation. Market execution sell. Entry price is 1.29507. Stop loss is 1.29593 for 9 pips. Take profit is 1.29189 for 32 pips. And a risk reward ratio of 3.70. Again, this is the United States dollar versus the Singapore dollar. Next up, we have the US 30. This is the Dow Jones Industrial Average. We have a confirmed uptrend. Aqua, gray, blue. We're going to be entering this. It's going to be a buy from current price. Targeting 48,225.95. 48225.95. Let's go ahead and grab the parameters for this. Mind you, the US 30 is the most heavily weighted index in the world. It's around 100 times more weighted than a regular Forex currency. So be very careful with your leverage here. Even at 0.01, it can rack up very fast. All right, so the risk is going to be 3.35. Entry at 47.88, 844.98. Stop at 47.731.41. That's going to be for 11,357 pips. Take profit at 48,225.95. And that's for 38,097 pips. And here's your next call of the day. The US 30, this is the Dow Jones Industrial Average. A 30-minute confirmation, market execution buy. Your entry price is going to be 47,844.98. Your stop loss is going to be 47731.41 for 11,357 pips. And your take profit is going to be 48225.95 for 38,097 pips. The risk reward ratio is 3.35. With that, we're caught up for the morning. Let's take a look at other indices to see if we have other interest that may be coming. Really giant breakout on the UK 100. Possibility we may eventually get a sell on that. We may end up getting a buy on S&P 500. May end up with a buy on NASDAQ 100. And what I'm looking at here is you have a low. You don't have an establishment of a higher low yet. Price went up and tried to break structure. It couldn't do it. So this is the high. This is a lower high. It's coming back down. Once it does so, and establishes a higher low, now you're looking to continue this uptrend. We may get a buy. You see the same structure with NASDAQ. High of the day, lower high. Low of the day, lower low has not been established yet. Once it is, and you have EMA cross, we're going to get a buy off of that to break out the top of the Asian range. The same way as you see US 30 formed. We may get the same thing on a Japanese Nikkei 225. There's an existing sell on German 30 that we missed. It's in profit, but it's in an uptrend. Not so sure it's going to get there. France 40 is in consolidation, so that's not going anywhere. Euro 50 is possible if price goes ahead and drops and we get EMA cross, we get an entry for a buy. Kind of difficult to tell on Spanish 35. This is weird price action, but I don't think there's any there. All right, so that being said, we'll go back and take a look at Bitcoin, which we've been tracking because we're in a buy here. And slightly in stop loss territory. But we've got a lot of major news today. So just to update you on where we are, I'll take you to Forex Factory. And this is all today. So at 8:45 a.m. Central Standard Time, this is 15 minutes after the open bell of the New York Stock Exchange, we get an interest rate decision by the Royal Bank of Canada. At 9:30, this is the hour after the opening bell of the New York Stock Exchange, we get a press conference by the Royal Bank of Canada. At 1 p.m. Central Standard Time today, this is right after the end of the lunch for the New York Stock Exchange, we get a rate announcement from the U.S. Federal Reserve's system on the U.S. dollar. This is going to explode the market, and man, things are going to be moving fast. So a lot of our trade book might be cleared out with wins because of this announcement being made. It is projected that Canadian dollar and US dollar will lower interest rates. That's going to make both of those currencies stronger versus other currencies. And then somewhere around 8 p.m. tonight, we also have an interest rate decision coming from the Bank of Japan. They are not expected to change interest rates. If they do, we're going to get an unexpected bump to the strength of Japanese yen. If they don't, I think people expect it not to change. So it's kind of already priced into Japanese yen. So even though we're going to get an interest rate announcement, Japanese pairs shouldn't move all that much because of it. So slightly positive futures on the US 30, the S&P 500, and the NASDAQ. Gold remains over $4,000 per troy ounce. That's about it. I don't see anything else that's relatively interesting for us that's going to make a difference in the market. So with that, we're going to wait. 7:49, no new calls for 7:45. We're approaching the top of the hour, 8 o'clock. It's a 4-hour candle for the market proper, with the exception of with the exception of futures. Its 4-hour candle is in about 6 minutes. If you're not familiar with the futures market, it works just like regular currencies and cryptocurrency, except those tickers work off a 10-minute time delay from the rest of the market. Testing, 1, 2, 3. That my sound got knocked off, but should be fine. Yes. Coming up on 6 minutes to go to the top of the hour. Got about 1.5 minutes left to possible entry to the futures market. Now, because we do have a call on a buy for US 30, it's possible we're also going to get a call for the future on US 30. We're going to see here in a few moments. $7:55 in the morning. No new immediate futures calls, so it's unlikely we're going to get that call on US 30, which is fine. Just over 4 minutes left to go to 8 o'clock in the morning. All right. Coming up on 2 minutes left to go to the top of the hour. All right, it's now 8 a.m., the top of the hour. No immediate signals just yet. It does take trading view about 3 minutes to get through all the signals that we do call. It is a 4 hour candle, so it's evaluating all 328 assets on the 15 minute, the 30 minute, the 1 hour, the 2 hour, and the 4 hour time frame. The only exception is futures. That actually happened back at 7:55 a.m. Minute and a half, yeah, still no fireworks just yet. Right. It's 8:03 in the morning. We're looking to get anything for the 8 o'clock hour. Next opportunity to enter the market will be at 8:10 a.m. Central Standard Time. That's for the futures market. And also 8:15 a.m. Central Standard Time. That's for the rest of the market proper. Things may well be quiet all the way up to the opening of the New York Stock Exchange at 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. We should be expecting this type of slow price movement because of the forthcoming slate of major news all day. But after we get the rate decision on the Canadian dollar, it should get faster. Once the Federal Reserve makes their announcement on the rates for the US dollar, it's going to be crazy fast. About 9 more minutes left to the quarter of the hour. Hmm. Right, it's just over a minute left to go to 8:15. Right above the 50 EMA on US 30, right on time, right before the opening bell of the New York Stock Exchange. I expect that to actually float up pretty quickly. We may get take profit within 15 minutes of the opening bell opening. So we'll see. All right, almost there. Another 15 seconds or so. And here we go. All right, so no new calls for 8:15. We have officially broken the 50 EMA on the 30-minute time frame. As you can see, we're starting to get a breakout of price as US 30 starts to climb. Once it breaks previous structure, which is this top right here, it should start moving a little bit faster. I will let you know when you can move your stop loss to entry price for break even to lock in your profit. Mm. All right. So the new calls for 8:15 in the morning. Next entry to the market will be 8:25 a.m. Central Standard Time for futures. 8:30 a.m. the opening bell of the New York Stock Exchange for everything else. Good morning, Camellia. And for multiple audiences, welcome to the stream. That's YouTube, Twitch, Nemo TV, Kick, Amazon TV, iHeartRadio, and Apple TV. And 4 minutes left to go for the futures market. About 9 minutes left to go for the opening bell of the New York Stock Exchange. Which broker are you looking at? BTC USD. I have it on two brokers. I'm using Liquid Brokers and LHFX. But the broker that I'm looking at on TradingView, I believe, is Oanda. We'll do that, Samco. I appreciate your support. All right, 8:25 a.m. Central Standard Time. No new immediate signals out of the futures market, so it's unlikely we're going to get one. We do have the opening bell of the New York Stock Exchange coming up in 4 minutes. As you can see, US 30 just broke the previous structure, just like I told you it would. After the opening bell, we'll see an acceleration of price for Bitcoin. You can see for US 30, we're already in profit. We have a pretty monster day yesterday, a little over 240,000 pips won. And today, provided we get both of the Bitcoin calls plus US 30, that will be another 200,000 plus pips 2 days in a row. We have a pretty elegant trading system thanks to one of my mentors in the market, Mr. Patrick Kinney. If you're consistent with it, it works very well. All right, about 1 minute left to go to the opening bell of the New York Stock Exchange. Buckle up. It's going to be a wild ride. Thirty seconds. Here we go. We immediately have a sell opportunity on gold versus the Australian dollar. We'll take a look at that shortly. Take a quick gander at US 30. Slightly down. Retracement is fine. That's normal after the opening bell. We do have the mark off of the trade that's moved over. Let's take a look at gold versus the Australian dollar. So this is going to be a short, which is great. Kind of an ideal setup. So we've got blue, gray, aqua. So this is a confirmed downtrend. Price has broken above the Asian range. We have the cross of the EMA with the 13 being over the 5. And that triggered the sale. Now what's going to happen is in about 15 minutes is actually going to mark off what the trade actually looks like. I expect it's probably going to take us down to this wick, which is the bottom of the Asian range. So the trade likely will look something like this. But I'm not sure yet. So what happens right now is what we like to call a Patrick push. And that is because it's called a short entry, most of the time, about 60% of the time, price is actually going to retrace up into the 5 and 13 EMA. And by that time, the next candle closes, and that's when you take the entry. So we're going to keep this in queue for 8:45 a.m. Central Standard Time. That's when we'll actually have the trade marked, and we'll enter it then. But we do have a trade incoming on gold versus the Australian dollar. Now, meantime, you saw the retracement earlier on US 30, and now US 30 is starting to take off. We are in profit. Again, this is 100 times weighted from a regular Forex currency. I hope you did not over leverage yourself to get greedy. If you did over leverage yourself and you're in profit right now, partially close your profit and take that little win and ride safely up to take profit. Don't blow your account trying to be greedy. There will be more wins. It's just kind of the way this works. As far as Bitcoin, it's pretty much stayed in the same place. But the action's on US 30, and that's what we'll keep watching for the moment. I believe this was a No, it's a 15-minute call. So no new signals except the forthcoming gold versus Australian dollar. We'll call out that signal at 8:45 once the indicator marks off what the trade should look like. From the London session, we only had two calls. Bitcoin versus the United States dollar and Bitcoin versus Tether, both are in profit. And this morning we have two calls, including the US 30 on a buy. I believe the other call was United States dollar versus Singapore dollar on a sell. Also, until 1 p.m. Central Standard Time today, be very careful on entering trades that involve the US dollar. The reason for this is that the US Federal Reserve System will be announcing a possible change in interest rates at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, and you're not going to be able to very freely determine direction until after that's done. It also means that a significant portion of our trade book will more than likely hit take profit. So somewhere around 1 p.m. or so, or between 1 p.m. and 2 p.m., going to be calling a lot of take profit smashed in the signal chats. So don't get overwhelmed by the number of messages. It could also mean that we have a significant amount of trades to call. I'll make sure I'm by my computer to capture those, evaluate them, and get them called out in the signals chat as well. So just bear with me. Again, interest rate decisions on Canadian dollar, that actually comes at 8:45 a.m. The US dollar at 1 p.m. And then the Japanese yen at around 8 p.m. tonight. All today. And that's just the major news we know is coming. I believe we're in day 29 of the shutdown of the US federal government. No relief in sight. They've already announced that they're not going to be paying out SNAP benefits to all Americans who are on it. The same thing with the WIC program and the CHIP program. It is also too late at this point, even if they did decide to reopen the government, to make sure that subsidies are properly reflected in the healthcare portal for open enrollment on November the 1st, which means that if you are signing up for a health plan through the marketplace, that your premiums are going to be significantly higher than what you're used to, because they're not going to be offset by an advance credit on your tax return for 2026. And as you can see, US 30 is starting to take off a little bit. It's wonderful for us. We love it when a plan comes together. Let's go. I'll toggle back and take a look at Bitcoin, which is a little bit down from where it was. Hasn't really moved yet. That's fine. We'll stay paying attention to US 30. All right, we got an order filled on RB1. Let's go take a look at that. That is a take profit smashed. Now, I don't believe that we entered this trade. We missed it. The trade was called on Tuesday at 6:30 in the morning. So I was asleep. This is before I would have gone live for New York. So we just plain missed this one. But as you can see, nice smooth movement, take profit. That being said, If I were up for this trade, I would not have entered it. And the reason being is at the time the trade was called, you have gray, aqua, blue. This is consolidation. It just so happens that our trading system works so consistently that there are some times it will call a trade in consolidation and it will still somehow hit take profit. I don't enter these at all because I don't really like the kind of Russian roulette quality of entering a trade in consolidation. I prefer to enter only when there's a confirmed uptrend and downtrend. All right, back to US 30 we go. As we continue our march towards take profit. It's now 8:40. This is when TradingView starts to evaluate the rest of the futures markets. We could get a call before the candle is over, but less than 5 minutes left to 8:45, the announcement of the interest rate decision on the Royal Bank of Canada. I'll go ahead and bring up another window in Forex Factory to track that, and I'll let you guys know what the interest rate decision is. Now, their current interest rate is 2.5%. They're expected to lower interest rates to 2.25%. What that means is that the supply of Canadian dollars in the market is going to increase. And generally, what that means for a currency, at least in the short term, is that the currency strength increases. So, for instance, if you were looking at the Canadian dollar versus the Swiss franc, for instance, you would expect a buy rally on Canadian dollar versus the Swiss franc as a result of the Royal Bank of Canada deciding that they're going to lower interest rates. Another example, if you were looking at the Great British Pound Sterling versus the Canadian dollar, you would expect that GBP CAD would sell off because Canadian dollar would grow in strength versus the Great British Pound Sterling. Another way that you can have an indication of it is if you go to TradingView and you look at the CXY, this is the Canadian index, you clearly see there is a giant rally on Canadian dollar. So Canadian dollar is gaining in strength. You also see the massive space between the 50 and the 200 EMA. That means this is a very strong uptrend. So that's another indication. Another interesting thing, Bitcoin dominance is down. Ethereum versus Bitcoin is up, which means money is flowing into Ethereum to use as gas for purchasing altcoins. As you can see, some of the altcoins that I have in my portfolio are all up today as a result of that price action. Let's go back to US 30, which seems to have broken out a little further than where we were. And I can dig it. Two minutes left to 8:45 a.m. Monster move on US 30 after retracement into the stop loss territory. As you can see, this is on the heels of a buy order block. So it has support. It's not coming back down. Wonderful entry. If you've entered US 30, be prepared soon. I'll call out very soon when you can go ahead and move your stop loss to entry price to lock in your profit. We're almost at 50% to profit right now. With 1 minute left to go to 8:45 a.m. Okay, move your stop loss to entry price. You now have a risk-free trade on a US 30. Congratulations on the profits. If you have gone more than 0.01 on it, go ahead and take your partials and just ride this to take profit. Lock in your profit down. I know a lot of you guys don't listen to my advice on leverage and you get greedy because you're used to winning. It's fine. I get the idea of FOMO, but I don't personally do that myself. I'm very, 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 very disciplined with my risk management. All right, we got a new candle. And we got calls on gold again. So let's move away from this. We'll come back to it. Now, do we have our mark off? Yes, we do. So we've got a sell of gold. I'm not so sure why that's so short. It's a little weird, but whatever. Got a short of Australian dollar of gold versus Australian dollar to 16.156. We're going to go ahead and short up that stop. Just need to be right above the previous candle. Let's go ahead and get these parameters called out. Now, almost every broker is going to have gold versus the US dollar. You may not have a broker that has gold versus Australian dollar. I have two of them. So if you look at the description to this video, you'll see Liquid Brokers and you'll see LHFX. Both of those brokers have gold versus Australian dollar. All right, so this is XAU AUD. This is a 15-minute sell with a 2.61 risk. And the entry is going to be at 6067.587. Stop at 6087.286. And that's going to be for 1,970 pips. And take profit is going to be at 6016.156. And that's going to be for 5,143 pips. I did see tickers on gold versus euro and gold versus US dollar, so we'll have those coming in as well. Yeah, Camellia, that's the way we roll. We love it. Gold versus Australian dollar, 15-minute confirmation, market execution sell. Your entry price is 6067.587. Your stop loss is 6087.286 for 1,970 pips. And your take profit is going to be 6016.156 for 5,143 pips. Risk to reward ratio is 2.61. Go ahead and get this ferreted away. Let's get this called out. Now it's going to be a sell. Now let's take a look at gold versus the US dollar. Has not been marked off yet. We'll have that call coming out at the top of the hour. Same thing with gold versus euro. As you can see, the same pattern. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. You have a break at the top of the Asian range. You have a cross of the 5 and 13 EMA. The sell does call on the next trade. The next candle may have a retracement of price. We call that the Patrick push. We get a better entry for the sell, and then we enter for a win. Same thing on gold versus United States dollar. Break out of the Asian range. Cross of the 5 and 13 EMA. Signal on the next candle. Patrick push on the next candle. At the close of the Patrick push candle, it marks off the trade. We enter for a sell. We win again. Rinse and repeat. It doesn't matter what the asset is. So long as you're entering in with the trend, almost always you're going to win. Going back to US 30, we have partial retracement of the current candle, but we're still up. That's not going to hold. It's going to continue to push up, so don't worry about that. We fall into negative territory for Bitcoin for the day. That's no bueno. But not particularly concerned about that either. So we've got Bitcoin versus US dollar, Bitcoin versus Tether, US 30 all cooking. We just called out gold versus Australian dollar. We have 2 forthcoming calls at 9 a.m. for gold versus the US dollar and gold versus euro. So nice start to the morning. Note, these are all red trades, which means they are more heavily weighted than regular Forex pairs. Be very careful with your leverage. It's going to take you more margin to get into these trades, but you're also going to make significantly more profit than a regular trade. Do not over leverage and blow your account. It does not matter that there's a high probability of a win. It does not matter that you get excited about the numbers flowing up like that. Take your partials, reduce your risk, and keep yourself in the trade so that you can get the rest of the profit. Don't get greedy. There's one goal here, that is to compound. And just like that, we have the jump on US 30. Going to give you guys a math lesson here. I want you guys to pay attention. What I did is I asked Google, what is $500 at 1% growth every weekday for a year? Now, there's 261 days that we can trade during a year. This is 1% growth. 1%. That's ridiculously easy to do. We do way more than 1% a day. That means that if you started with $500 and you traded with me for a year, you would be sitting at least $6,530 at the end of 1 year. Right? End of year 2, $6,350 growing at 1% every day for 1 year, 261 days. Just taking the trades, not getting greedy. Now you're sitting on $84,131.68. I want you to remember that. Now, we're going to take that 84,131.68, and we're going to times it by the factor, which is 1 to 1% times 261. That number is 13.2505. Now, this is at the end of year 3. All you're doing is following the trades, starting with $500, growing at 1% per day. We do way more than that. Look at the number, 1,114,600 $786.83. No, you are not imagining things. Yes, this is real. I've been doing this in my own private trading group and for 12 years for Project Genesis. And I've been calling signals for my compatriots in Patrick Kenny's group off and on for 2 years. My stats are legit. To put this in perspective, I had a major heart attack and a stroke and a quadruple bypass last year, so I was out of commission for 7 months. That means I did not start trading this year until February the 3rd. From February the 3rd until right now, we're at 947 wins versus 709 losses. For a win percentage of 57.13%, we've won 3,957,435 pips. At the lowest leverage that you can take, which is 0.01, that is $395,743.50. Let that sink in. And that's if you took every trade that I call, win or lose. You just got to be consistent. We live in a time where AI is eliminating jobs. We could be looking in the future by the year 2050, where they literally have to reorganize society because robots and AI will take over jobs that were once done by humans. There's got to be no more customer service jobs. There's not going to be any more people working fast food. Robots are going to do all of that. Eventually, you won't even have people doing trash pickup. Why? Because you can have a self-driving truck that's programmed to do all that stuff. Acquire the skill. Start now. Put together a little chunk of money. If you need help finding a broker, I can do that for you. Start coming to the lives. Start trading. You need some other form of income. And then take the money from trading and start applying it into real assets. And do it quickly before it's too late. Now, done with my lecture for the day. I don't think they quite understand, Camellia. I wish they would. It's crazy. All right, so it's now 8:57. We've got two more calls. We got gold that came out on the futures market, and we have micro gold. So it looks like we're going to 5x ourselves on gold. So we'll have gold versus Australian dollar, gold versus US dollar, gold versus euro, gold as a futures, and micro gold as a futures, all coming out still. So we'll call out USD and euro versus gold in 5 minutes. At the top of the hour, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. We are cooking this morning. Let's go. Let's get back to US 30 and take a look. As you can see, prices exploding upwards. We have an hour candle coming, so this is going to advance even faster. We just like what we're doing. Bitcoin is back in positive territory for the day. We got major rate announcements coming. Fun stuff. I will cash. And you're welcome, Cornelia. I'm very passionate about doing this. I mean, when I first started trading 12 years ago, I had Tyrone and I had Patrick, but I had to pay them hundreds of dollars a month to teach me how to trade. And I just became maniacal that I want to be one of the best signal carders on the planet. And I feel like I am. But I wanted to pay it forward. I did not want to gate the gift that I've been given behind a paywall. And I wanted to be able to help other people. Because what happens is most retail traders, when they start trading, they fail because they either make rookie mistakes or they don't have anyone that will hold their hand to the process that helps them build their confidence by winning as they're still learning. And I never wanted that. So, you know, I'm blessed and I'm excited to be able to do it. Yeah. Patrick was on one when he did this. So people look at this and they think it's magic and they're not really understanding how intricate this is. It's essentially the DeLorean platform in an indicator. But it does all of the confirmation for you. All you have to do is wait for the close of the next candle and voila, you have a trade. And if you can tell whether you're in an uptrend or a downtrend, which is easy to do, you're going to win. Just look at US 30. This is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. You have Aqua, the 50 EMA. You have Gray, the 200 EMA. You look further down, you have Blue, the 800 EMA. AGB, that's an uptrend. What happened? Price broke the bottom of the Asian range. You had a cross of the 5 and 13 EMA. Once the 5, the yellow line is over the red line, that means the buyers have control of the market. So you have a breakout of the Asian range to the south. You have buyers getting control of the market. And what happened? The next candle, when the trade was called, price took off. And it does this over and over and over again. You can't unsee it. Same thing would happen if it was a sell. You would have a breakout to the top of the Asian range. You would have a cross of the EMAs where the red line is over the yellow line. The next candle would mark off the trade. Guess what? You're selling. I used to do all this stuff manually on trades. Now I have an indicator that does it for me. I don't really have to think other than very quickly glancing at the chart, finding the uptrend and downtrend, and I'm done. I'm waiting to call the trade. Now, there's other skill that goes along with it. For instance, you want space between the 50 and the 200 EMA. And the more space you have, the stronger the trend in that direction. And there are other confirmations you can use to give yourself additional confidence in the trade. Because even when you're in an uptrend and a downtrend, it's not always apropos to enter it, particularly if there's an order block above current price. If the 50 and the 200 EMA are very close together and you have a confirmed call on a buy or sell, you don't want to take those trades. Why? Because EMAs can uncross. And all of a sudden you're entering into a trade you thought was an uptrend or a downtrend that falls into consolidation. And you've got a trade that's open when you're not making money on, and now you're on FOMO. You're afraid to just get out of the trade because you're just convinced it's going to hit take profit. And you wake up the next morning and you're a couple of $100 in the red. No discipline. Yeah. I mean, that's essentially what this is. It's a combination of Patrick's purple zone concept, because you can use this on higher time frames to essentially have the purple zone trades already marked off for you. Which is why, and I don't think anyone really understands this, if you go to my alerts, I have the alerts active for this system on the 15-minute, The 30-minute, the 1 hour, the 2 hour, the 4 hour, the daily, the weekly, the monthly, the 3-month, and the 6-month. We're not missing any of this. And it's on autopilot. It literally just kind of prints money. At any rate, it's 9:04. Let's go ahead and get our calls in on gold versus the United States dollar and gold versus euro, which should be marked off by now. As you can see, we have our Patrick push to give us a better entry. We're going to take a short from current price. For gold versus the United States dollar, we are targeting 39.59.30. We're going to shorten this stop because it just needs to be above the candles. And voila, we have our trade on gold versus the United States dollar. Let me get these parameters out and I'll get these called out in the chat. 1 second. All right, this is gold versus the United States dollar. This is a sell on a 15-minute confirmation. Our risk is 4.63. Entry at 40.19.077. Stop loss at 40.31.987. That is for 1,291 pips. Take profit 39.59.3. And that is for 5,978 pips. Here's your next call of the day. Gold versus the United States dollar. 15-minute confirmation, market execution sell. Your entry price is 4019.077. Your stop loss is 4031.987 for 1,291 pips. Your take profit is 3959.300 for 5,978 pips. Risk to reward ratio of 4.63. Straight butter. Let's go ahead and get this called out. And this is commodity, and this is a sell. Moving on, we have gold versus the euro. Same thing. See the Patrick push I was explaining earlier. It's going to be a sell from current price. Targeting 3,402.316. Going to shorten that stop. Again, the stop needs to be just above the candles. So let's get these parameters called out. And this is gold versus the euro, also on the 15-minute confirmation. 5.02 risk to reward ratio. We have an entry at 3455.54. We have a stop at 3466.144. That is for 1,060 pips. Take profits at 3402.316. And that is for 5,322 pips. No, I don't stop. I'm a machine. Because even when the proper market kind of falls into consolidation, crypto is still volatile. So we'll be making money throughout the holidays. And then now that my health is back at 100%, I will be back at full bore for 2026. I don't know if you were with me. Yeah, you were there. I was in Patrick's group back in 2023, where we did 10 million pips that year. We were just shy of 11 million pips. That's my all-time high for a year. So it can be done. At any rate, we have gold versus the euro, 15-minute confirmation, market execution sell. Your entry price is 3455.540. Your stop loss is 3466.144 for 1,060 pips. And your take profit is 3402.316 for 5,322 pips. The risk reward ratio is 5.02. All right, that is gold versus euro. Get to futures. Let's see if this is marked off yet. Not yet. It should mark off very soon, actually. Right about now. Boom. All right. So we have gold. This is a future GC1. I'm going to take that on a sell. Targeting 3972.7. Again, we move stop right above the candles. That's all we want to be at. Now, I don't know what you use for futures. I use Top Step X. GC1 is available on multiple brokers. Grab the parameters for this. And this is GC1. Gold. 15-minute confirmation. The risk is 2.89. We have entry at 4027.4. We have stop at 4046.3. We have pips at 189 pips. And we have take profit at 3972.70. And yes, I'm aware that futures are called out in ticks. It just so happens that when you put the long or short indicator on a futures trade, TradingView will convert the ticks into pips. So I don't even have to do that math. Here's your next call. Congratulations, Camellia. Right on. GC1 gold, 15-minute confirmation. Market execution sell. Your entry is 4027.40. Stop loss is 4046.30 for 189 pips. Take profit is 3972.70 for 547 pips. Risk to reward ratio of 2.89. Let's get this marked off. That's another sell. And the last one, MGC1. This is micro gold. We have a Patrick push on that, which is wonderful. Let me enter this on the short. Our target is 3971.5. Going to short our stop to be right above the candles. And voila, we have our trade. It really is that quick. In a second, while I get these parameters down. It's MGC1. This is micro gold. And stop at 3.18. Well, sorry, risk at 3.18. Entries at 4029.4. Stop loss at 4047.6. And that's for 182 pips. And take profits at 3971.5. And that's for 579 pips. Here's your next call. MGC1 Micro Gold, 15-minute confirmation. Market execution sell. Entry price is 4029.40. Stop loss is 4047.60 for 182 pips. Take profit is 3971.50 for 579 pips. A risk to reward ratio of 3.18. And with that, we're all caught up again. Awaiting 9:15 a.m. Central Standard Time, which is literally 30 seconds from now. Let's see if we get some other opportunities to enter the market. We are cooking with gas today. Reorganize this, reorganize that. Bitcoin's now negative for the day. We're still positive on US 30. So slight retracement, the first retracement of an Elliott wave, which is fine. It's already forming a buy candle as we continue our rise. So essentially what you're seeing is price going up. Oops. Price going up. Price retracing. Price going up again. I just recently started trading on another broker called BTCC. It's used for cryptocurrencies. Different type of leverage because it's essentially you pay up front with your margin to get into the trade. But at any rate, I went ahead and chunked 100K into it, and people are copy trading my stuff. And I just looked at it. They're up $300,000. And the only thing I can have a chagrin about is I don't get a piece of that, but I don't really care. I just want people to win. I used to call my signals and setups and the explanation for it out on TradingView, but their posting policy is so restrictive. I got tired of them and just started doing it exclusively on Telegram. And now that I'm live streaming, you guys can kind of see the behind the hood sort of process of what I'm doing. It's not magic. It's not smoke and mirrors. It's just consistency. Trust me, when I'm in my bed and I hear my alarm at 1:30 in the morning, I do not want to get out of bed with my feet hitting a cold floor to come in here and do a session for London for 2 hours, then drag myself back to bed and get up at 7 o'clock in the morning, take my medicine and be on live again for 7:30 to 10. Discipline. It's going to pay off. Now that I can finally get back in the gym without worrying about re-injuring myself, I'm working out every day. If I'm not in the gym 4 days a week, I'm walking 3.5 miles to the bridge over by Forestbrook Middle School, and it has a very steep incline on that bridge, and I run it 10 times, and then I jog back home. So I'm jogging there 3.5 miles. I'm running that bridge, which is like a 3.5 to 4% incline, about 100 yards up. Then I walk down and I do it again, catch my breath, and then I jog 3.5 miles back home. By then I take a shower, take a power nap. I'm up again, maybe around, I don't know, just before 4 p.m. every day. Crack on the PlayStation 5, might get myself some leisure playing games with my nephews and nieces. And around 6, 7 o'clock, I'm kind of ready to shut it down. In bed no later than 10 p.m., up doing it again, 5 days a week. Then on Saturday, it's learning day. So I'm either working on writing the book that I'm writing right now. I'm in the midst of writing my first book. I think I'm on the 5th chapter right now. Or I'm learning some type of skill, whether it's an indicator that I've never used before for trading, whether it's refining my craft by watching what someone else is doing, whether that's giving advice to someone else or being around other people who do trade. I just try and soak in as much knowledge as I can. On Sundays, I pray and meditate. I get my worship in. I rest. And then that afternoon, I'm right back at it again. Religiously sitting in front of my computer for the start of the Sydney market, looking at setups, making sure I have my buy and sell list for the week. And I'm ready to roll for the next morning. So in 2026, I will be trading every weekday. The market is open, 261 days, no breaks. And I have every design of breaking my personal record. My goal for next year is 12 million pips. Oh no, New York is already open. New York opened at 8:30 Central Standard Time. So we're coming up in an hour where New York has been open. It's doing well. We're already in our retrace right now. I think it's going to come out of that at 9:30. Okay, we've got dings. Oh, yeah. This is true. Yeah, the retracement on US 30 is done. I mean, you're going to see it right now. We just had that one little dip. I mean, it's going to do that. All right, we got a call on XPD. That is Palladium versus the United States dollar. Let's take a look at this. Okay, we have the breakout of the Asian range. However, this is not a valid trade. And the reason being is that it had already called a short. It hit stop loss. What happened? EMAs can uncross. So at the time of the trade, we did have a cross where the 13 was over the 5, but it hit resistance here and took off the other direction. Also instructive, we would not have entered this trade. Why? Because at the time of the trade, you have blue, aqua, Gray, that's consolidation. You have resistance below current price. To further drive this home, look at the fair value gaps here. Price came down, hit the top of the fair value gap, and took off. It came down, it established another one. It kept going. So Palladium is going up. So it'll go up a little higher. It may give us a more valid entry later, but this is not it. At all. All right, still pushing upwards on US 30. What we're looking for is a break of previous structure, i.e., blowing the top off of this wick from an hour ago or from 30 minutes ago, in which case you're going to see an acceleration of price action towards take profit. So still a very solid setup. We don't have to worry about it going and hitting stop loss right now. US 30 is really designed to go up just like most indices anyway. So we're doing quite well today. Give it time. I still got a few minutes. It's about to hit 9:30. Let me step away real quick. Be right back. All right, I'm back. Back. About to come up on 9:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Should get another push for action here soon. That's also when we have the start of the conference from the Royal Bank of Canada on their interest rate decision. Um, by the way, let me look and see what they did. They did lower interest rates by 0.25%. Okay, so we've got two calls. We've got the euro versus the Polish zloty on a sell. Won't be taking this because we have blue aqua gray. That's consolidation below price. We have the United States dollar versus the Norwegian krone. We're already in that trade, so we're not going to take that again. Back to the US 30. All right, so 9:32, no real action to speak of right now. Still in the midst of that mini drawback on the US 30. Again, price action looking like this. It'll push up soon. Likely at the top of the hour, which is 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Price will continue to explode upwards. see where we are. Looks like we got an order fill on German 30. So that's a take profit smash. We missed that trade. No, actually, it's not a take profit smash. That is a full reversal of price action. It's selling off. All right, so we won't be touching that. We need an actual buy signal, and we don't have one. So I'm going to be ignoring that. We still have the stall on US 30. Again, I expect that to reverse at 10 a.m. And we're still seeing that same pattern. Price shot up, price is reversing, price will continue to take profit. Got one more ticker at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, the top of the hour. We'll see where we end up. Bitcoin is slightly down for the day. Gold is still up, but it's falling. So we're doing quite well so far. Can you post your Telegram links? Yes, I can. One moment. Here's the link to my Telegram. So if you're looking to join Project Genesis, which is my free Telegram group, go ahead and drop that into your browser, either on your phone or on your computer. If you're on a laptop, it's going to lead you to Telegram. It's going to ask for your phone number. Drop that in for two-factor authentication, and you will automatically join the group. If you're on a phone and you click that, it's going to lead you to download Telegram if you don't already have it. If you have Telegram, it will instantly put you into the group. And that will give you access to all of my signals 24/7. I don't only call when I'm live. So go from there. At any rate, we're waiting the top of the hour, 7:37 minutes and a half right now to 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Had a decent day today. Buys on Bitcoin versus Tether and Bitcoin versus US dollar. A buy on US 30. A buy on gold versus a sell on gold versus Australian dollar. A sell on gold versus US dollar. A sell on gold versus euro. A sell on GC1, which is the futures for gold, and a sell on MGC1, which is the sell on micro gold. I am the Pit Messiah, your host for the Quiet Storm live trading session for New York. The Quiet Storm is held every weekday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. for the London session, and from 7:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. for the New York session. If you haven't already done so and you would like to support the channel, I would appreciate it if you would subscribe to the channel, like the video, and turn on those notifications to keep abreast when I do go live in the market. We're currently live streaming on multiple platforms: YouTube, Twitch, Nemo TV, Kick, iHeartRadio, Amazon TV, and Apple TV. Welcome to all of you from those different audiences. All right, so apparently I haven't uploaded the mix since the 22nd. I need to get that taken care of. Not a problem. Just about 5 minutes left to go. All right. A little less than 3 minutes left to go. All right, now the top of the hour. We'll see if we get any additional signal calls. Nothing initially. Here we go. We got a sell position on United States dollar versus Polish dollar. Let's take a look. We're already in it, so we're not going to take that. All right, so it looks like we're done for the New York session for today. I'll see you guys for London at 2 a.m. in the morning, tomorrow morning. Cheers.